Hello, my name is David Clem, and I'll be talking about different ways nurses save lives in the hospital and in the public. I have chosen trusted and academic sources to give you the best information pertaining to the four major topics that I would like to talk about. These topics are heart failure, opioid overdose, preventing different types of cancers, and how the nurse oversees the patient in a hospital care. With that being said, let's get into the first topic, heart failure. This information is coming from the article, Care of Patient with Chronic Heart Failure. The retired Professor Boetha of University of South Africa stated that the nurse is a coordinator of a multidisciplinary team within the heart failure problem. This means that the nurse coordinates what happens to the patient and coordinates a team to help save the patient's life. That's the first way that they save the patient's life. The second way is they talk to the patient and talk through what is going to happen with the patient so that they can confirm and comply or talk about what is going to happen with them. Both of these are ways that the nurse saves lives of the patients with the heart failure. The second topic is opioid overdoses. Obviously, we are facing a epidemic with younger people with opioid overdoses. The pilot study, Nurses Saving Lives Through Opioid Overdoses Prevention, done by Louise Durant, showed how nurses can save lives with a simple nasal spray out in the public. This shows that the nurses can save lives in the public very easily. The second part of the study was that non-medical professionals can also learn this with this nasal spray. It is a very easily administered spray that can greatly increase the chance of the patient's life. The second part of the public is preventing different types of cancers. Obviously, we are trying to bring down the rate of cancers within today's society. The information coming from Community Nurses' Role of Preventing Melanoma stated that nurses are in an excellent position to teach sun-safe behaviors and reduce UV exposure. Both of these show how nurses can prevent or save lives in the public. If we go back to the hospitalization portion, we can see how nurses oversee care of the patients. The article, Aggravated Respiratory Failure from COVID-19 Infection, done by Jinyong Xiong, showed different ways that the nurse observes care with the patient. This means that they are constantly monitoring the patient and updating their care to save their life. The second part of this article stated the different types of evaluating the treatment that the patient gets. Sometimes the doctor doesn't always get it quite right on the first try. The nurse has more time to look over this treatment and determine if there should be a second opinion for this patient. Obviously, I can go on all day about different ways nurses save lives, both in the hospital and in the public, but we don't have all day. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Where can you actually get the nasal spray?
That's a good question. It should be free at your local CVS or anywhere that carries it. You might be able to look it up online as well, but it should be very easy to obtain. Is there any other questions?
Yeah, how does a patient respond when having heart failure? How does a patient respond to the nurse?
The article that I pulled from was chronic heart failure. Obviously, if someone's having a heart attack, they're not going to be able to respond right away. Sorry. They're not going to be able to respond right away, but if they're in the hospital and having chronic heart failure, then they can talk with the nurse or doctor on different methods to prevent this in the future, or different ways to treat this. Thank you for coming to my talk, and I hope that this helps you in the general public.